Thank you for attending my PowerPoint presentation about who is the strongest character in anime world. The prologue: breaking the scale. Alright, let's be honest. If you put more than 2 anime fans in a room together for more than 5 minutes, someone is going to bring it up. It's the ultimate never-ending question that has ruined lifelong friendships, started legendary wars in Reddit comment sections, and kept keyboard warriors awake until 4 a.m. We've all been there, passionately explaining why a fictional guy who eats ramen for breakfast could absolutely obliterate a literal god of destruction. It's basically a rite of passage for being an anime fan. On one side of the ring you have the classic, "but can he beat Goku?" crowd, who genuinely believe that any problem in life can be solved if you just scream loud enough and turn your hair a different color. Then you have the Saitama fans, who smugly remind everyone that the entire point of their guy is that he wins with literally one punch, making any power scaling debate mathematically useless. Throw in Gojo with his infinite geometry math barrier, or some overpowered ice guy protagonist who is basically a high schooler with a developer cheat code, and you have a recipe for pure, unadulterated chaos. And let's talk about how ridiculous power scaling has actually gotten over the years. We started decades ago with simple, wholesome questions like who punches harder, and somehow ended up with characters who can casually rewrite reality, delete concepts of spacetime, and destroy entire dimensions just because they had a bad hair day or their best friend got a minor scrape. At this point, comparing these characters isn't even a debate about physical strength anymore, it's a debate about which character has the most generous writer. So today, we're going to dive straight into this beautiful, chaotic madness. We're going to look at the heaviest hitters in anime history, break down their absolutely ridiculous powers, and try to find an actual logical answer without starting a physical riot in the process. Grab your snacks, leave your personal biases at the door or don't, because we actually love the drama, and let's finally figure out who deserves to sit on the throne as the undisputed strongest. Okay, the first one, we have the sovereign of reality and time, Rimuru Tempest from Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Let's start our countdown with the ultimate don't judge a book by its cover contender. If you walked into a fantasy world and saw a cute, squishy blue ball of jelly bouncing around, your first instinct would probably be to poke it or try to pet it. You certainly wouldn't think, ah yes, there is the literal god of time and space who could blink me out of existence. But that's Rimuru Tempest for you. He started his journey as an ordinary guy who got reincarnated as a bottom-tier RPG monster and somehow ended up as a multiversal deity. Talk about an extreme career change. Rimuru represents what we call multiversal godhood, which is just a fancy way of saying he has permanently activated creative mode. We aren't talking about a character who just punches really hard or shoots big laser beams. We're talking about someone who can casually stop time, isolate entire timelines like they're messy tabs on a web browser, and literally recreate the universe from scratch if he feels like it. If Rimuru does like how a fight is going, he doesn't just train harder, he literally edits the rules of reality so he wins. What makes him truly unfair, though, is his stomach. This little guy can swallow entire dimensions. If you throw a galaxy-destroying attack at him, he doesn't even bother to dodge. He just eats it, digests it, and lets the super-intelligent AI assistant living inside his head analyze it. Yes, you heard that right. He has a built-in, reality-warping supercomputer in his brain that does all the work for him. While other anime characters are screaming for 3 episodes straight just to power up, Rimuru is basically letting his brain AI do the math to delete them. So how do you even fight someone like this? The short answer is you don't. Rimuru is the absolute ceiling of anime power levels, representing the tier where physical limits simply stop existing. He is the ultimate cheat code. It is incredibly hard to have a fair anime debate when one of the contestants can casually decide your favorite character's entire universe never existed, all while he's sitting back and enjoying a nice cup of tea. The next contender, we have the peak of supernatural rules, Light Yagami or Kira from Death Note. Next up, we're taking a massive detour from multiversal gods who can swallow galaxies. Instead, we're looking at a high school student whose ultimate weapon isn't a magical sword or a planet-destroying energy blast. It's literally just a book. Enter Light Yagami, also known as Kira from Death Note. He's the ultimate proof that you should never underestimate a straight-A student with a massive god complex and way too much free time. Light represents the concept of absolute conceptual death. He doesn't need to throw a single punch. In fact, if you put him in a physical arena, he'd probably get folded like a lawn chair. But give him a pen, his notebook, and 40 seconds and he can take out almost anyone. His power is incredibly simple. He writes your name in his book, thinks of your face, and boom, you're done. It's basically the magical anime equivalent of hitting the delete key on a keyboard. What makes Light so legendary, though, is the sheer unadulterated drama he brings to everyday life. This is a guy who manages to make eating a potato chip look like a high-budget action movie sequence. But despite his genius-level intellect, his power has some hilarious everyday limitations. If you have a super complex name with a weird spelling, or if you just go by a fake gamer tag on the internet, Light is completely powerless. He is the only powerhouse in anime history who could be defeated by a typo. So where does he stand in our search for the strongest? He is the ultimate glass cannon. In a direct fistfight, he loses to a slightly aggressive toddler, but in a battle of stealth, strategy, and unknown power, he is absolutely terrifying. He poses a hilarious question for our countdown. Does a character really need to be able to destroy a universe to be the strongest, or do they just need to know how to spell your name? Next is dubbed as the strongest anime character ever, Son Goku from Dragon Ball. And now we have arrived at the ultimate benchmark. The gold standard, the literal blueprint of overpowered anime protagonists. You cannot have a conversation about the strongest without this man's name completely hijacking the entire debate. Yes, we are talking about Son Goku from Dragon Ball. He is the reason the most feared, meme-worthy phrase in all of anime history exists. But can he beat Goku? Goku represents the concept of infinite physical scaling. While Rimuru uses reality-bending cheat codes and Light relies on a deadly diary, Goku keeps it old school. He trains until his muscles scream and then he trains some more. If a villain beats him up, he doesn't give up. He just screams for 3 episodes straight, dyes his hair a flashy new color, and comes back 10 times stronger. By the time he reaches Ultra Instinct, his body is literally dodging attacks on pure muscle memory before his brain can even process what's happening. Despite being a literal god of martial arts, Goku is a hilarious contradiction. This is a man who can shatter planets with a flick of his wrist, but is absolutely terrified of a routine doctor's visit because he hates needles. He has saved the multiverse multiple times, yet he is completely powerless against a scolding from his wife. He also has a terrible habit of giving universe-threatening villains a healing item right before a fight, just to make sure the matchup is fair and fun for him. So where does he stand in our countdown? Goku isn't just a competitor, he is the gatekeeper. He is the ultimate physical powerhouse who proves that sometimes you don't need complex magic or reality-warping hacks, you just need a guy who refuses to stay down and has infinite retries. If you want to claim the title of the strongest, you have to answer the golden question: can you actually beat Goku? If we have the strongest Goku, then the next one is his rival in this kind of conversation. The peak of raw physical might Saitama from One Punch Man. If you have ever spent more than 5 minutes in an anime comment section, you already know you cannot mention Goku without a horde of fans immediately replying, but Saitama wins in one punch. If Goku is the ultimate tryhard of the anime world, then Saitama is his ultimate low-effort rival designed to make internet power scalers cry. While Goku spent decades screaming, dying, and crossing dimensions just to change his hair color, Saitama unlocked infinite god-tier strength by doing a workout your gym teacher would call average. He didn't get a glowing aura or cool magical energy, he just lost all his hair and gained a severe case of existential boredom. Saitama represents the narrative gag, which is basically a cheat code against online debates. Internet math nerds will spend hours calculating Goku's speed using the theory of relativity, only for Saitama to walk in and ruin the calculations because his entire existence is a joke. It doesn't matter if an alien warlord spends 1,000 years conquering the galaxy, arrives with a dramatic monologue, and unleashes an attack that can melt the planet. Saitama will just stand there with a completely blank, egg-like face, wait for them to finish talking, and end the entire conflict with one casual, unbothered slap. He is the ultimate troll to anyone who takes anime power levels too seriously. The internet rivalry gets even funnier when you look at what actually motivates these two. Goku lives to fight the strongest gods in the multiverse to push his limits. Saitama, on the other hand, is too strong to have any fun and is easily the most depressed powerhouse in anime history. While the rest of humanity is shaking in fear at a giant monster invasion, Saitama is genuinely panicking about whether he's going to miss the Saturday afternoon grocery sale at the local supermarket. His biggest rival isn't a multiversal threat, it's a single, highly evasive mosquito that he can't seem to squish. So how does this legendary matchup actually resolve? When you ask the internet, could Saitama beat Goku? You aren't really debating physics, martial arts, or energy output anymore. You are debating comedy. Goku plays by the rules of traditional action anime where you have to struggle and grow. Saitama plays by the rules of a cartoon where the punchline is that he is already infinitely stronger than everyone else. And in an online argument, normal anime logic simply doesn't stand a chance against a guy who can vaporize a meteor while wearing a yellow jumpsuit and kitchen gloves. If we talk about the physical strength, we cannot ignore their counter, the absolute defense and spatial mastery Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Just when you thought Saitama and Goku had locked down the entire debate with their planet-shattering strength, we have to talk about Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo is the ultimate party pooper for the physical powerhouses. He isn't here to match them punch for punch or blast for blast. Instead, Gojo represents the ultimate cheat code defense. He is the guy who looks at a multiversal god and a bald superhero, laughs and says, "That's cute, but you literally cannot touch me." Gojo's primary weapon is a concept called infinity. Think of it as a magical invisible force field but with a math degree. It doesn't just block attacks, it infinitely slows down anything that tries to approach him. If Goku fires a galaxy-erasing Kamehameha, or if Saitama throws a serious punch, the attack will get closer and closer, and then just freeze a millimeter away from Gojo's face. While they are exhausting themselves trying to break through the laws of mathematics, Gojo is probably standing there checking his phone or thinking about what kind of sweet treats he wants to buy for dessert. But Gojo isn't just a defensive wall, his offensive moves are a literal brain melter. His ultimate move, Unlimited Void, doesn't blow up planets, it blows up your mind. It drags you into a space where your brain is forced to process every single piece of information in the universe all at once. It's like having a trillion browser tabs open on a computer from 2005. For someone like Saitama, who already hates thinking, or Goku, whose brain runs entirely on fight first, think never, this is an instant system crash. They'd be standing there completely paralyzed, staring into blank space while Gojo decides how to finish them off. So why is Gojo the ultimate counter? Because he proves that raw physical strength is completely useless if you can't actually make contact. He is the ultimate anime troll, highly arrogant, unbelievably handsome, and constantly wearing a blindfold just to flex how easy everything is for him. Gojo poses a hilarious dilemma for our countdown. Does it really matter if you can destroy the entire universe with a single punch, if your opponent is permanently out of arm's reach? Conclusion. So after looking at all these absolute legends, what is the final verdict? We have a cute blue slime playing in literal creative mode, a high schooler who can delete you with a pen, a legendary martial artist who travel across galaxy, a bald guy who is too bored to care, and a pretty boy who make himself untouchable. If you tried to put all 5 of them in a room together, it wouldn't even be a fight, it would be a chaotic reality-bending circus where the laws of physics are packing their bags and leaving. At the end of the day, trying to crown one undisputed winner is completely impossible because they aren't even playing the same sport. How do you compare Goku's pure physical grit to Light Yagami's stealthy spelling bees, or Saitama's cartoon logic to Rimuru's timeline-erasing cheat codes? The true, strongest character doesn't depend on power levels, calculations, or fan theories. It depends entirely on whose universe we are fighting in and, more importantly, which writer is currently holding the pen. So instead of screaming at each other in the comment section at 2 a.m., maybe the real winner is the sheer creativity of anime itself. Whether you prefer the classic struggle of screaming for 3 episodes to dye your hair, or the absolute hilarious cheat code of a magical invisible force field, we can all agree on one thing: anime is beautifully, gloriously unhinged. Thank you all for coming to my presentation, and remember, before you start arguing about who wins, just make sure you know how to spell their name correctly.